and I focus on. I can never say. I was trained to say that I did everything by myself. It was a funny thing to say, but actually, I never did anything by myself. So many angels, so many people, so many. I don't know. I cannot even name so many of them, that helped me. I remember that there was a guy who I just met, in a 12-step program, and I never drink, I never smoke. I was kind of boring that way. So at the end of the day, he came to my home and say, why are you here? Because I want to make sure that you're going to sleep well. And he sat in a chair, and watched me sleep. And another guy bring me food. And the nanny of my daughter, she stayed with me, and can't even remember if I gave you her money or something. She just stayed there, because she said, don't worry, I will take care of you. And start seeing, and a guy came that was introduced to me by another friend. He came and he was living in Mexico City. So at that time, I was spending all my money looking for my daughter. I pretty much spent it all, and I get into a huge debt, and I lose everything I had, just for the willing just to see her again. So I went to Mexico City to go there, and he was with me. His name was Salvador. That's really, really say, wow, Salvador Valadez. So for me, Salvador was, I went to his home, and he teach me many things, but one of the first thing that really got into my system is, what are you thinking? Because I told him why is happening. Say, don't say why. The question is not why, it's what for. What for? What is what for? Why you have to learn from all this? And I say, I don't know. And say, well, that's for you to find out, And say, okay, but what are you thinking? Well, I'm thinking that maybe, she's with another guy, and yes, and he grabbed that phrase and start talking like it was my mind. And he said, yeah, and now, he's laughing, and with your wife, and he's embracing your daughter, and your daughter is calling him dad. And in that moment, I was so into anger, and I was just about to jump, over him, and I don't know, and in that moment he stopped and say, hey, maybe she's lost. Maybe she doesn't know why she did that. Maybe she cannot stop it. Maybe she's been pressured. Maybe and your daughter is crying over you, and she wants to see you again. And that just hit me really hard, and say, everything is about what you think. Everything is about what your mind is telling you to do.
So true.
So it depends. Everything depends on you. How you want to treat yourself. What are you going to feed your mind? What are you going to accept as the truth? So isn't it better just to find what for? And at that moment, I say, okay. And a lot of miracles. I can tell you so many of them, at that moment, and things like happened that it really, really made me believe different things, I start, rebuilding. I went, and it's funny, because all the family from my ex-wife, they were very into the religion, and they are Catholic, very very Orthodox in a way to do things. So in my mind, I was generating conflict, and well, I started to think differently, and I started to rebuild my system with a lot of guilt, I might say, because I in one moment I just said to God, I don't know you, I don't know who you are, but you are not that guy that I always thought that you were, and
Wow.
I got really angry with him. And another friend, my other angel Javier, he told me, uh, say thanks, be grateful. Doesn't matter what happened, just be grateful. I say, but why I have to be grateful? Because it's an experience. Be grateful for the experience. I don't want to be grateful for the experience. I don't want to talk to him. I don't
Wow.
like him. And say, well, if you don't trust him, if you don't like him, you just tell him that a good friend told you that he may listen to you, and you will say that thank you. Mm? And that's what I said. I say, my friend is telling me that I have to thank you. I don't know what I'm doing this one. I feel like crazy, but well, I thank you, and thank you, and I just put myself in a lotus position, like if I was meditating something, and move it back and forth, like autism, just saying thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, and I spent that, I mean, hours doing that every day. Every day, I don't know, I mean, 2 3 hours just saying that thank you, thank you, thank you, God, thank you for the experience, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I think that is like one day, just I woke up and say yes, naturally say thank you, thank you
Oh,
for
how
the
beautiful.
experience, and 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 I started rebuilding myself, and start everything was start happening. I don't know. I can't even remember what I did or how I did it, because when you block something, an emotion, you just don't block one single thing. We always
True.
believe that taking an aspirin or a Panadol or something, or paracetamol or something, is going to just relieve you from a headache, but it doesn't do that, it can, take care of your back, and also, help with your leg and everything. Why? Because it's an anesthetic, it's just a freeze everything, for keeping you to feel pain. And pain is not that bad, pain is what makes you, human. And at the end of the day, you can learn from that, and but I start blocking some things, uh, because I was in survival mode, uh, and I was in a
Wow.
scarcity mode.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
So
And Jose Antonio, so wow.
the,
Yeah, yeah. Let me just, because this is so huge. This is so huge. I want everybody to understand how regardless of how the importance of gratitude here, how it didn't make sense, and how it is okay that it doesn't make sense to you. Like, let's just shift my chip right now of gratitude. Like, be grateful for any experience. Not Don't think about it as good or bad, but any experience, especially the ones that you consider bad. Look how many hours that was like meditation. That was like devotion. Jose Antonio did it, and one day he got the result without wanting the result. He was just surrendering and trusting. And and I love what you're just sharing, that you were in lack mode. So how did you shift? This is such incredible. I think I gotta invite you again just because of the time. But from you were in scarcity mode. You said scarcity mode. When was the shift into your incredible abundance? It had to be abundant, because I don't know anyone that will have chosen to do all of this work with the kidnap of a child. Of course, I know you. So, how was your shift from scarcity mentality to the abundance mode that you created? What happened?
was basically, for me was something that I started to realize that all my life was based on scarcity and fear. That's why I wanted to be a millionaire, and have everything external, so I can prove that I'm worth it, and I'm all the stuff, that we know, and it really came from the fear side, not from the love side. And I was very close to achieve that goal, until that happened, that reset everything, One day I was just, putting my hand, to stop a bus, and I had nothing with me, but myself, And one day I realized that there was everything I was need. I just had it in me, and I start moving. Then I realized that I was in a second mode, that was in a standby mode, a static mode. No, it's a I don't know how to say a static stagnant mode, perhaps. I mean, I wasn't moving, I wasn't growing, and I needed a shake, to stagnation mode, perhaps, and then move forward, and start moving forward, and say, okay, I will focus on me, and start, building myself. And in that process, somehow, business started growing, and I recovered my debt. I went out to Brazil, and I opened a restaurant with a friend, and I was the cook over there. And then I just gave it to him, and the other business, I just gave it away. And I started to care less, about the material things, and start being more concerned about my functionality, my ability to function on my internal being. And I think from that, it started to shift to abundance, because I didn't require anything. Everything was given to me somehow, and I realized that when I lost and I don't like to use that word, because it doesn't apply really, you never lose anything, you just pass on things, and just choose differently. So when I choose differently, and I saw that the nanny of my baby took care of me, Javier was watching me sleep, to be safe. They would bring me food and everything. It was abundance. I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to move a finger. I only had to focus on myself. And I promised God, I made a promise to him, because then we became friends again, and it was a process, and I started making my measurement of God. But for me, everybody has a measurement of the Creator. For me, maybe it's 30 by 32. Like a pants. But that was fits me. And I realized that my communication it has to be directly. I don't need a middleman. To pass on my things. I can communicate directly, and he was listening to me, and I realized that everything I was doing because it was some part of my essence. I was sharing what I was truly. I didn't have to wear mask. I remember a guy told me and say, "Hey, is this true that your wife left you and you're poor?" At that moment, I just in that moment, I just said to me and say, "Oh, okay, it's true." And I told him, "Yeah, yeah, she left me, took my daughter, and I'm poor." And his face just, I saw him like feeling really, really extremely bad, in a shame and something. Say, I'm very sorry. I'm sorry. I wasn't thinking. And he left as fast as he could. When you're truth to yourself. When you show your essence, it's nothing that is going to bother you. Everything aligns, somehow, and there is no resistance. You start flowing. There is not a